astray. We are live. Okay. So welcome to your First Six Figures morning show. I am your host, Shay Cannon. I'm an award-winning fractional chief operating officer to an exclusive clientele of 7 and 6-figure CEOs. However, I have this mission. Mission involves you. My mission is small business owners and entrepreneurs who are spinning their wheels and struggling to make it to their first 6 figures in business. I want to show you how to make the money and create time freedom. That's make the money and create time freedom. My freedom looks like living and working my business from anywhere in the world. It's been a journey, but the short version is I now live in Mexico. Okay. So this morning show is a continuation of the blog talk. And so blog talk for today has already been released. Our topic of the week is getting your business ready for more. Okay. Getting your business ready for more. On yesterday, what we talked about is basically getting your business ready for more is because most of us go into business and it's just us in the business. We have found something to sell that people will buy and we jump and we say we're in business, right? And so the natural progression is what we're going through this week, talking about getting more, okay? So they kind of naturally build on each other. So the first thing that we talked about to get more is that when you go past the warm audience that is everybody that you know and some of the people that they know to sell your stuff to, you need to start talking and selling your stuff to people you don't know, right? And so that's called marketing. So catch yesterday's replay where we did a deep dive on getting your business ready for marketing, because it's all about clarity when you have to market. So learn how to get clear in your business from yesterday's replay. Today is the next natural progression. Okay. So say you got your business clear and you have, you started marketing to get more people that are not people you already knew. And so now you're selling more. Now it's time to hire. Okay. Now it's time to hire. But before you can hire, you have to set the people that you're going to hire. You got to set them up for success. Okay. So to do that, you should have an official job description for them. Okay. That spells out what their duties are. What are they going to be doing? It needs to be spelled out, okay? A part of hiring somebody is to tell them beforehand what they're going to be doing, okay? Now, then you need to have tested, okay? Not just documented, but tested processes, procedures, and protocols for them to follow, okay? Don't just hire people and they don't know who they are to your company and they don't know what they're going to be doing. Okay. So test it, not just document it. I want you to test it. Test it, processes, procedures, and protocols. That is what they're doing, when they're doing it, how they're doing it. Okay. Now, a training plan for them. Okay. Because just because you have procedures and stuff documented, okay, and tested, doesn't mean you can just hand that stuff over and then people know what to do. You have to train them. So you need to have a plan to train them before you start hiring, okay? So now we got our training plan. The next thing we need to do is we need to define what success looks like. Do you know how many people hire people and they don't know if they're doing a good job? All they know is they still feel like they're doing a lot. And that might not have been the measure of success for that person coming into your business, because if it's just you and one other person or you and just a few people, you still are doing a lot. So that cannot be the measure. Okay. So you need to know what is the measure of if this person is being successful in their role. Okay. You need to know and they need to know. Okay. A lot of people don't know if they're doing a good job or not until you come up with this annual evaluation that you probably did a year and a half into it. You weren't even on time with that. And you shouldn't even wait till the year is up, because there should be some 30, 60, 90-day feedback. Okay. But what are you giving feedback on? Right. So it's not just, hey, I trained you to do it like this. Are you doing it like this? Because there should be an end goal to what they're doing. So we're measuring the end goal. I hired you to help me do what? Okay. And how much of that has been helpful? How much of that has been done? What are the KPIs? What are the key performance indicators for the role? Okay. So now that I've told you guys how to get your business ready for hiring, I told you that you need an official job description. I told you that you need documented and tested processes, procedures, and protocols. I told you that you need a training plan for when they come on, you're going to make the time to train them. And then I told you need key performance indicators. You need a way to define what success is. Okay. So now that I've given you all the ways to hire, okay, I want to know from you ladies, what is something that may have been surprising about getting your business ready for hiring? And what is the one thing that you may have been leaving off if you have been hiring? So I'm going to start with Glow. Glow, are you available to come on the mic to answer what is something that surprised you in that getting ready to hire, or what is something that you may have left off in hiring someone? And we're going to see if Glow can come off the mic. And if not, Glow is going to use the chat and she'll let us know and we'll read it later. So Demetra, I'm going to go with you next. Only because Heather turned the camera on and got in front of you in my sequence.
Say the question again, Shay.
Okay, so the question is, what in this process that I talked about that's getting you ready to hire in your business, what was most surprising to you? And the second one is, what is one that you may have left off in hiring before?
I don't think anything was surprising to me. However, really needed to have the policy and procedures in place. So then, and basically what are their responsibilities, not just like a day-to-day kind of like, oh, today I need you to do this, today I need you to do that, and then having all of that in place so I'm not constantly saying the same thing over and over again, but having more of an outline so then I could tweak it along the way.
Exactly. Heather, what are your thoughts? What is something that surprised you that's on the list? And if you've hired before, what is something you've left off in the past?
I've hired freelance reporters, and really they had a very basic job, right? Go out, cover the story, get it to me by the deadline so I can edit and publish, right? So that's very basic. Freelance reporters don't require a lot of structure because they already know what their job is. But I've never hired for someone to work like inside my business with me. And so for me, this discussion is like, I'm just at the window. I'm looking in because I'm listening and learning. I'm that person in the corner just taking notes because I've not had to hire, and since
so what part of it was most surprising? Like if you had to go in on your own and we didn't have this discussion, like what part would you surely have left off and you're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I should be doing that.
I probably would just be feeding them like tasks as they come, right? As opposed to like putting a whole structure together, a whole process, a whole procedure so that I'm not being driven crazy and I'm not driving them crazy.
Exactly. And so that you're getting a return on investment, right? So some people hire and they're not ready to hire. And so therefore they're paying someone, they're not getting all they could from that person that they're paying. So the return on investment is very small. And so, we got to do all of these things. Now, let me ask you this about the reporters. So those are reporters who you have an assignment for. What about the reporters who have to go out and find assignments? Is there any criteria for them?
It depends on what department they work in. When you are a freelance reporter, you just take assignments as they are given to you.
Okay.
But if you are an on-staff reporter, if you work in the news department, you might be an enterprise reporter. Those are the ones who go out. Those are like the investigative reporters. They go out and find the story and dig in. So it just depends on like where you're at.
Because I'm gonna tell you, it reminds me of what we see on TV a lot, right? Like the reporter or the magazine people, they have to pitch stuff and they're always getting turned down or whatever. And I always wonder, have they been set up for success? Like, have they been told what are some criteria that make a great story? Have they been told what is something that would make a great magazine article for what's going on? Or are they just told, go out and find me something?
And it can be both. But it depends on a lot of times, like with magazines in particular, because issues are so well structured to, like the Christmas issues of magazines were put to bed in May, right? So they're already done, right? So those are, okay, we know what the theme is. We know what we're doing, so they already know the structure in which the stories have to fit. But when it comes to newspapers, it really is about having a pulse on your community. So like if a reporter comes to you and is like, I think there's like some shit going down at the art museum, I'm just going to use that, right? Like there's embezzlement at the art museum, but the community is exploding with like neighborhood violence. The editor is going to be like, that's amazing. We don't care right now because our community is on fire, right? And so
But
you
do
also
you
have to
see
know
how
the
that
time.
is at least setting them up for success and saying that, hey, if something is going on that is of more interest to the readership, we don't do common interest stories. So you need to focus on what's sensational, what's happening right now. Like even that is some measurement of what you're supposed to be doing and what, so that everybody's not coming in with common interest stories when this building is on fire. Nobody has given me anything on that, right?
Right.
So
Exactly.
so it's an example of why people need some degree of what's going to make it successful. You know what I'm saying? So that they know, because it's not fair for people not to know what's like, it's all in your head. And I got to guess what's in your head. Like we got to get stuff out of our head as small business owners. So thank you, Heather, for talking that through with me, because that's exactly what I wanted to show. Okay, so Teray, was there anything about the process that surprised you? Is there anything that you have left off in the past and has brought you a little pain? Because I know you have hired, because you have lived so many lifetimes in this business game. So we're interested in your point of view, definitely.
I feel like what's surprising to me is that you don't wait until you need to hire somebody to start putting the KPIs and processes in place. Because by the time you're ready to hire, it's an emergency. You need somebody, you're desperate, and you're working in your business and not on your business. And so you just need a body to fill it. And so by the time you get to that part, trying to go through and write out all the processes is you don't have time for, because you're trying to put out fires. So what happens is, even as a solopreneur, if you start identifying the processes of all the things that need to be done, by the time you're ready to hire, you have things in place. That's what's surprising to me. Because whenever you're a solopreneur, you're doing what you need to do. You're doing what needs to be done. And then if you have sudden growth, then it's like, oh, wait a minute, I need somebody to handle this because I can't do this. But if you wait until the last minute, it's too late for you to put that stuff in place. That's you don't realize it until you get to that point. So that's why it's surprising to me.
Exactly. And so Glow put hers in the chat. She said she definitely will be asking for feedback, that she's talking about that evaluation and setting them up for success. And she said she also identifies with what Heather said. Now comes the question, one of the most popular questions I get asked as a fractional COO, which is, who am I supposed to hire first, right? Who should I hire first in my business? Okay, this says iPhone. I think that's Z though. So let's just see and hope it's not an awful experience with iPhone. But yes. So now who has joined us from iPhone? Come off the mic and identify yourself, please. All righty. No worries.
So this is Shaky. I got a new phone, so I'm just trying to adjust.
Not a problem, Shaky. We just look, you don't understand. We are big time now. We have people that come in and disrupt. Because we, mama, we made it. So we have to make it.
Got it.
So we're at the part now where we talked about that when you're hiring, how to get ready, get your business ready to hire, right? But again, that question I'm always getting is, who should I hire first, right? And I've heard different people, some of them are HR specialists, some of them are magazines, and some of them are different talk shows and business owners, and they're always saying they're given an actual role of who you should hire first, right? Now, let's take you back a few years. Like 5 years ago, the buzzword for our entrepreneurs of who we need to hire were VAs, right? Oh, everybody should have a VA. Everybody should have a VA. Okay. First of all, VA is associated with like bare bones, administrative, entry level work and skill sets. When VA really just means giving you help and assistance virtually. They can have any form of skill sets, going from $150 an hour to $8 an hour. I mean, it just depends. So every VA is not even the same. Okay, so that was the first buzzword. The second buzzword about 3 years ago was, oh, you need a project manager. You need a project manager in your small business, right? And people were using project manager loosely, not understanding that to be a project manager, you really should be certified. You should have the PMP and all of these things. And just because you literally manage projects does not make you a project manager as far as a title. Okay, so if you're not certified, most likely you're not a project manager. You could be a project coordinator, a project assistant, all of these things. But again, 3 years ago, the buzzword of who you should hire was a project manager. Okay. And again, don't use project manager because those people are certified. And guess what's going to happen? You use project manager and people ask you for more money and don't have nan lick of a certification. So stop using the words project manager. All right. Now, within the recent years, okay, within recent years. So I took you back from 5 years ago, they were talking about VAs. 3 years ago, they were talking about project managers. Now, okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and take credit because nobody was really talking about this title before I started using it. So I'm gonna go ahead and break my arm and pat myself on the back and let you know that I am a trendsetter, okay? Because now what everybody is looking for is a fractional, okay? They want a fractional C-suite member, and I am a fractional COO. I have been so since about 2018. And so it's funny because I've been using it ever since then, but as I became popular in the people that I work with in the bigger brands of the six and seven figure brands, more and more people have popped up and said they're fractionals, right? So that's the new thing. But what I'm going to tell you is stop following the trends of what people are saying you need in your business, okay? Because that may or may not serve you well. Heather says she's a fractional FCMO or a fractional FHRO. She says she's seeing that a lot. Yeah, so that's a fractional chief marketing officer or a fractional chief human resources officer. Yeah, it's they going wild with it. But anyway, so I want to share with you my formula for who you should hire first, because my answer to the question is always, it depends, because it depends on a lot. But I'm going to share with you my hierarchy on what exactly it depends on. And guess what? Today we're sharing screens, y'all. Y'all know we don't usually share screens. So ignore that Elevate Mastermind at the bottom because I shared this with Elevate Mastermind. But this is my formula for who you should hire first. You take your business through this hierarchy and you will know who you need to hire first. Okay. So the first thing you're going to ask yourself is, what do I need help with to get to the money that's waiting on me the fastest? How do I get to the money the fastest? Who do I need to help me get to the money the fastest? Okay. That's the priority. All right. The next priority is going to be, who do I need help from to get money consistently? Okay, consistently. So the fastest, like I got some money I need to unplug and get right now, to how do I get money consistently? Okay, who do I need to help me to bring money in with instead of being in the weeds? So bring in money instead of being in the weeds with administrative tasks, right? So that's going to be you not being in the weeds, not them. Right. So who do you need to hire to get in the weeds to handle your administrative tasks? Okay. Who do you need that's also going to service the client? You don't want to be the only one servicing the client after a certain point, right? So who else can come in and help to service the client, whether they do exactly what you do or they do some phases thereof, okay? The next thing is, what are you not good at doing, or what do you lack knowledge to do? That might be the next hire, okay? The next hire, what don't you want to do? Okay, what don't you want to do? Then the last thing is, it could be something that you're good at doing, you like doing, but should you be doing it? Right? And that question right there is the one that trips people up, because they're like, oh, I like doing graphics or whatever. Okay, well, let's just say as the business owner that you make $150 an hour bringing in business. Would you pay a graphic designer $150 an hour? No, you would not. That's why you should not be doing graphics, right? Okay, so hopefully you got this screenshot. All right, because we're going to stop sharing. But that whole hierarchy is how I come up with who should be hired first. But that's the first part of it, okay? Because once you figure out what you need, Then you can put those tasks together and look at it and say, okay, what position or positions are these? Right? Because sometimes the tasks that you need dictate different skill sets. So now we look at all the things that we need done and how, what we're going to delegate. Well, who do we delegate that to? Some of y'all are trying to hire one person to do 11 different skill sets, and that's why you still feel like you are not getting a return on investment. Okay? You have to honor the skill sets needed for what you need help with. Okay? The average entry level VA don't know nothing about video editing, don't know nothing about algorithms for social media. Okay? Don't know nothing about marketing strategy. So you hiring VAs that are entry level and expecting them to be thinkers and decision makers when they are doers, right? Because remember, I taught you a long time ago, there are three different people you can hire. Doers, people who do what you say, when you say, how you say, and anything other than that, they got to come back to you. Doers, okay? Thinkers, those are people who can execute, but they can think around, so they don't just bring you a problem, they bring you a solution. Decision makers, okay? Not only can they do it, not only can they think around it, but they have the power to make a decision, to make a change. And guess what? The further you go up, the more you should be paying. So in my position, in my client's business, I am a decision maker. Those $7 an hour VAs that y'all be hiring around here from the Philippines, those are doers, okay? And so guess what? They do what you tell them to do, how you tell them to do it, when you tell them to do it. And if anything happens that's outside of that, they keep coming back to you. They keep pinging you. And guess how you're feeling? I'll just do it myself. Right? When you basically have hired a person that can only do what you said, when you said, how you said. Okay? So again, even with doers, or especially with doers, you need to take them through what we said you need to be doing to get them ready. So let's go back through that, because anybody you hire, no matter their skill level, needs to be taken through this process. And that is, you need to have a job description or a role description that spells out their exact duties. You need to have documented and tested processes, procedures, and protocols for them to follow. You need to have a training plan, because I don't care how busy you are, you can't be too busy to train the person to be of value to you so you can get a return on investment. Okay, so get over yourself. You still have to make time to train. All right, you can't just give them your tried and true documented processes, procedures, and protocols and like, here, have at it. This is the training plan. Figure it out. No. Okay, take time to train them. Then we want to define what success looks like by having key performance indicators. What are we measuring them against? What does success look like? You need to know so that you know, are you going to get a return on investment? They need to know so they can know, what am I seeking to be great at? Right? A lot of us are hiring people and all we're doing is telling them what we want, but they don't know what the purpose of that is. They can't even connect what they're doing up to the success of your company. Right? They know that, for example, if I tell you, I want you to make sales calls, right? I want you to make sales calls and I want you to make at least 100 sales calls a day. Okay. But what does success look like? Does success really look like making 100 sales calls? Or does success look like, what do you want the result to be from them making 100 sales calls? Do y'all see the difference? Because if you make success be make the 100 sales calls, I can make 100 sales calls before lunch and be done, right? But if you tell them, hey, our formula is that you make 100 calls a day, but what success looks like is that 100 phone calls results in, 10 people that have an appointment that result in one sale. So for every 100 calls you make, we expect to have 10 people scheduled, and we expect to make one sale from those 10 people. Do y'all see the difference? Because if we just say 100 sales calls, that's a metric, right? But does it have anything to do with what success looks like? So stop telling them what to do without telling them what success looks like. Okay? Now, any questions on getting your business ready for hiring? Any questions? And let's see. Okay. Oh, goodness. Sylvia and Patricia has been in our comments over here on Facebook. Sylvia said, say it louder. She says, good morning. Patricia said, good morning. She just joined in hindsight is 2020. Just start where you are and document it truly. Yeah, you need to start where you are to document and then test it. But you need to do all that stuff before you hire somebody until you'll miss is what you need to do. So any questions, ladies, whether you're in studio or on Facebook, any questions? Getting your business ready to hire.
So I have a question about,
Yes.
because, a lot of times we see, excuse me, VAs who handle social media stuff, right?
Yeah.
But there are also people who actually do social media management for like their actual job, right? Like that's what they do. So, in terms of, I guess, if you're getting the most value out of organic traffic, does it make sense to hire a VA who can kind of straddle the line, or should you go more with a social media person?
Okay, so the
You know what I'm
biggest
saying?
difference, I do, and I'm about to define it for you, and you tell me whether or not I'm hitting it right, but I feel like I know what you're talking about. So first, we're going to start with the difference between a VA that is just doing social media tasks and a person that you hired that specializes in social media, right? So the first difference is, again, the VA is a doer. They're doing what you told them to do, how you told them to do it, when you tell them to do it, right? So basically, they're just doing the task so you don't have to, okay? Now, the social media person, what you should expect from them is different. You should expect for them to know about the algorithms, to be able to tell you, where we're going to start with the best day the best time of day to start, to start publishing or posting, right? To be able to read the metrics to help you make decisions on what to change. They should come with a strategy. You see what I'm saying? All the things that are outside of your skill set. So they should live and breathe social media.
Okay, that's what I figured you would say.
Whereas the VA, if you're hiring an entry-level VA, because there are multimedia VAs, by the way, there are social media specializing VAs. So I'm being very specific, right, on what you should expect from each. But most often, so for example, if you don't know social media and you need a social media presence, you need somebody that's going to come with strategy for your social media. They're going to help you get, they're going to ask you about the clarity of who, because yesterday we talked about clarity, right? In marketing, they're going to ask you about that same clarity. Who are we serving, right? What's this whole 20 to 30 point ideal client persona that you have, so I can figure out where those people are that they're looking for you, right? And then I know about each platform, and I can now cater the content to what each platform demands, right? And I know what metrics to look at and what those metrics are going to tell me to do next week versus what we did last week. Okay, what to do during your marketing campaign, right? Those of you who did the 90-day content workshop with me, what you know is we didn't just talk about content. I surprised y'all. We talked about content to sell. You had a 30-day plan that we're building content in phases so that we are selling, right? So they need to know the difference between what I call evergreen content, which is just great content that's going to last a lifetime and give value or whatever, right? And the content that is promotional, that is getting them ready to buy your stuff. They should know the difference in that, right? So Demetra said, great question, Heather. It was Heather. Teray said, decide whether you need to hire a doer, thinker, or decision maker. Boom, that's right, Teray. And then Heather says, I'm catching up on the workshop today. Yeah, you got the replay. So anybody looking to get the replay to the workshop, you can go to shaycannon.com/content. You can buy it. I think the copy is still set up for it to be like a live workshop, but as soon as you get the email, it gives you access to the vault and you can go ahead and get started. So yes, that's the difference, Heather. Did anybody else have a question? Because that was a great question. We're talking hiring.
I don't have a question, but definitely a comment. This is so good, and I wish I had this like a year ago. But I actually ended up hiring first an assistant. That was the first thing. But when I was, looking through the different, who's that you listed, I think I started at number 4 first versus number 1. And what ended up happening was that I hired her at a certain amount, and I didn't do like a VA. I actually, hired a person, and I hired her for a certain amount. She really bought into my vision, our mission and all of that. And she's great. However, because I didn't do number 1 and number 2 first, which is, what's going to make me more money, I ended up having to go to her and say, hey, so I'm not making as much money right now as I as I had hoped. And so I had to have the embarrassing conversation of putting her in a position to either take less money or to move on. And I don't ever want to put myself or anybody else in that situation. Now, thankfully, she decided to stay on. But had I hired for making more money first, I could have then brought her on and, be able to employ her and sustain her over time.
Exactly. And so that's why I don't like when people try to tell y'all the exact position to hire for first, because your business is not like every business. We as small business owners, we are the business. And so our business is just as different as we are, right? And so what's going on is we have our strengths and our weaknesses as individuals running the company, that we are the company. Then the business itself has its strengths and its weaknesses. We have the resources that we have access to right now and the resources we can get access to, but then there's a gap. There's resources we can't get access to right now, right? We have to take all of that in account for our particular business. So it's no different than when what I'm telling people about my course, and I'm telling them that the difference between my course and most courses are, I'm not giving you these high level strategies that your business is not ready for yet, right? I'm getting your business ready. However, with any course, with any Googleable information, with any good content, even this content, you have to ask questions to cater it to you and your business, right? That's always going to be the thing that's different. Who are you? What is your business? Strengths, weaknesses, resources, right? And so what people are doing is they're saying, oh, well, this person is having success and they're having success with only a VA. Well, you don't know how their mind works, that they're able to, not procrastinate. They're able to, in their mind, multitask when really they're just able to finish things individually quicker. So it seems like they're multitasking, right? So you don't know what their skill sets are, their strengths and their weaknesses that allows them to be successful with just a VA. Right? You don't know if they have a supportive husband that's handling stuff that you don't have a partner, or your husband doesn't support you in that way, right? So there are too many differentiating factors. Okay. You can't just look at stuff and decide that that's what I need, and nobody can tell you, and they don't know your business. Right? So, I mean, it's crazy out here, but yeah, people giving you information is general information. It's up to you to make sure whether or not the general information that works now, generally works for the average business, is going to work for your business in particular. You have to speak up and ask questions always. So that was great. Auntie Shake, that was great. That was great. All right. Did anybody else have questions about hiring and getting your business ready to hire? All right. Well, guess what? Yesterday we didn't have time, and I told you we were going to do it today. So let's do our Monday question, which is, what are you going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business? Okay. So I'm going to start with Teray. What is at least one thing you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business?
Nothing. I'm going on vacation next week. So I'm preparing my house for that, while I'm still healing, trying to figure out what I can and can't eat.
Gotcha. Heather, what is at least one thing you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business?
I'm going to do your work. I'm going to listen to the workshop today and participate. And I am recording my episode today with Adrienne Simpson for her warm handshake. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
A little nervous, but excited.
Love it. I love it. Demetra, what is at least one thing you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business?
I am working on the content from the workshop, And I really need to, my daughter has been doing some variety of different tasks for me. So I need to come up with some policy and procedures because I really do need her help more on a part-time basis and not here and there. So I need to work on that.
Okay, I love it. I love it. So Glow, what is at least one thing you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business? Feel free to put it in the chat. Auntie Shaky, what is at least one thing you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business?
Okay, tell me real quick, what's the difference?
What's the difference? So working on your business is working on the things that help you to develop your business, working behind the scenes, all of those good things, right? Working in your business is what you do to make money. So servicing the client is working in your business.
Okay.
He said, whoa.
The way this calendar is set up, so I will say this week on my business. I need to put on my calendar to look at that's definitely working on my business. You have a flawless structure with the blog and stuff like that, and you sent us kind of like that framework. I want to work on that. Like I don't want to say I'm going to schedule some time Wednesday. I have to be specific what day. Wednesday to work on that because that will help me work on the business.
Love it. It definitely will. And that qualifies. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Was that everybody? Because Glow says she's working on edits. She's working on edits. So I think that was everybody. All right. Well, last call for alcohol. Does anybody have any questions about getting your business ready for hiring? That was today's topic. Do you have any questions about yesterday's topic? Getting your business ready for marketing through business clarity. Do you have any questions about getting your business ready with anything or any questions about business at all? Now is the time.
I do have a question about hiring. So when is it, or maybe this is just different for everyone, but if you're just starting out, and I don't even want to say just starting out, but maybe you're restructuring and you need to hire a certain skill set, and not that you devalue what that person brings, you just aren't at the position to be able to pay them what it is that they're asking. At what point is it okay, or is it ever okay to offer someone maybe a piece of the business or some sort of percentage on the back end that may be beneficial for them to be able to work less today, but they work at building the business with me, they probably can make more money in the long run.
So let me just tell you that you're talking to someone who is very biased about ownership of a business. I'm also not an expert on parceling out businesses and doing investors or investments into the business like that. Let me tell you what my bias is. I don't like to share. And so I'm always going to do things in a way that I always own my own stuff. So how that can play out in a negative is I don't like working partnerships where we do half and half because I always end up doing more than half, but that person is still owed half. I don't like it. Also, what I'll say is there are stair steps to ownership in the business, right? Because you're looking at it as valuable now, but in the scope of what your business is worth and what it takes your business to run, right? That person might be a drop in the bucket of what's needed for the business. But because you need them now, you have sacrificed a part of your business where in the long run, they're actually not that valuable, right? So what you could do is instead of giving them part of the business, you can give them some type of commission type situation, right? So first of all, you're going to go through what we talked about today so that we know what success looks like. right? So if you know that if this person helps me, it's going to help me go out there and make such and such more money, right? Then what you need to say is, okay, this is how much money I made without you being in this position, okay? All the dollars over that for the next 6 months, you will get such and such commission. So you see how them doing their work is not the measure of success in this situation. Them doing their work and me making X amount of dollars over what I normally would make is what success looks like. Does that make sense, Auntie Shaky?
Complete sense.
Yeah. So I would start there. I've just had, so we're talking about just my trauma and my bias. I mean, going back to school group projects, I was always doing more than every fucking body else, but we all got the A. You know what I'm saying? I've had partnerships to where I knew exactly what my skill sets were, and they were supposed to have the missing gap of the skill sets. So in business, you know, you always have the person that's probably going to do the behind the scenes stuff. You might have a person that has the most money to back you and get the business going, right? And then you might have the person that's the mouth, that's the marketing, right? So y'all three skill sets together are kind of equal. But what ends up happening is I'm doing all the behind the scenes stuff, all the whatever. And as I make more money, I don't need the money person, right? And then the marketing person ain't bringing in enough clients. So now I figure out how to do that. I don't need none of y'all. You know what I'm saying? So I don't ever look at, you know, a permanent situation of you having a part of my business. I've had a partnership to where when I first moved to Atlanta, Georgia, I used to have events in Birmingham, Alabama all the time. That's where I'm from. That's where I'm known, right? I moved to Georgia. I know nobody. I partnered with this girl who's supposed to know everybody. I had more people that were there because of the marketing that I did than the people that she knew. So y'all know I was pissed off, right? So I just, as my own trauma and my own experience, I don't like that. And so I would prefer to hire somebody to do those things so that I'm in charge of all my stuff. And I get to reap the benefits of all my stuff since I seem to be doing all the damn work anyway. So I would start there. I would start with, you know, my expectation is that your help will help me to make money over and above the amount I already make. And for every dollar over and above, you get this many cents. That's how I would start.
Okay, got you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. No problem, no problem. But Auntie Shaky, I do want you to talk to an expert though, an expert that is, you know, some of the Shark Tank type people that know about investing and investments and giving parts of your company for stuff and what you should be asking for in return. Because you can even have it to where, you know, I don't know. Yeah, let them help you because I'm not the expert and I have a bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, you could even do some type of deferred payoff, right? I can only afford to pay you this amount per hour right now or per project or per whatever, but after 3 months, I should have the rest to give you a lump sum of. You could do it that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, as you can see, I'll do everything but give you a piece of my company.
Right, exactly.
like,
No,
like
I completely
I'll come up with some shit, but giving you a piece of my company is not what I want to come up with.
Yes.
But there are people that can teach you how to do that better. And I'm not one of those people.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. Glow said, interesting. I know, right, Glow? But I feel like people should stay in their lane. Y'all know I know a lot of stuff. When it comes to something I don't know, I will tell you. Also, when it comes to something I know I have a bias about, right? I have to tell you because I'm going to speak from that bias. Like I'm never going to tell you something that's going to tell you to share your ownership. Never. Because to me, in my bias, my trauma, my whatever, I always see it as me doing more work. So I'm never gonna share. Put it like that. So yeah, you guys should be the same. There's no shame in saying that you don't know something. And there's no shame in recognizing that you have a bias, a trigger, or whatever. Just know that on the other end of that is some negatives, right? So on the other end of my bias is my business may not be able to grow as much as it could if I were willing to share, if I were willing to allow investors, if I were willing to do certain things. But guess what? I'm all right with that. I'm gonna keep my trauma and move the fuck on. But hey, I don't want you to have my trauma or to make decisions from my trauma. So there's that. Well, all right, lady. It was great. It was great. It was great. Demetria was laughing at me. Glow said, interesting. So if people ask me about starting my podcast, I should tell them to purchase my ebook or give a little. You mean, I think you're saying how to start a podcast. Yeah, you just tell them to get the ebook, or you could do a one-on-one coaching. I mean, however you want to do it. Glow, you could do it that way. But definitely, because you could have it to where they get the ebook, right? But if they want to get the ebook and talk to you about the information in the ebook, then that costs a different price. That's where that coaching comes in. Yeah. So you don't have to be an expert in everything to be a coach. You can be an expert in what you know. So anytime you have written a book or you have a methodology of how you did something, you can always coach somebody on how you did it and got success. Just be honest that you're not an overall expert. You're an expert in how you did it. And that is just fine. As people always say in the business, if you're 3 years old, you can help a 1-year-old walk. That's still valuable to the 1-year-old. Okay. You don't have to, run a marathon and get medals to teach somebody how to walk. That's where some people are afraid to take their business to market, and they shouldn't be. You just have to outline it correctly. Right. So it's funny to me because that's how I differentiate as a coach in some of the top tier programs, because I can help you to pivot. Some people can only teach you their method, but because I truly do know business and I know business organization and I know what a business foundation should look like, I can help you to create the foundation that can help you pivot into higher level strategies. So yeah, you just have to know where your skill set is and where you can help people. Well, all right. Today was good, y'all. It was good. It was good. It was good. So I love this morning show. All